I love doing that.
Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I am your host, Melanie Studley.
Good morning, my name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and today is day 9 of AOM 100 Days of Q and A.
If you're new here, welcome. We do a podcast about marriage because ours was really bad. Go check all the seasons out. Season 1 is amazing. Check it out.
Yes.
And as always, today's show is brought to you by Audible. We love audiobooks. We love them, love them, love them, and we want to give you one for free. So go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage to get your free audiobook.
You'll thank us later.
You
Trust
will.
me. Okay, so we do 4 things. We pray, we share past gratitude, we read a review of the day, and then we dive into y'all's questions, which has been so cool. We are also live on Instagram and Facebook, so send in your questions there. So, Melanie, let's pray.
Oh, okay.
Out of order, sis. Okay. Creator God, thank you for your blessings. Thank you for the sunshine today. I pray that this podcast is helpful to us and it helps us grow and also helps other individuals and other couples grow as well. Amen.
Amen. Good prayer.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful that you let me. Yesterday I got to go just to the park with the kids and play tennis and ride bikes and play on the swing sets, and I didn't have to do anything else, and I'm thankful because I don't want to
Sounds
do
pretty
anything
fun.
else. And you worked really
I was
hard.
working at home, taking stuff to Goodwill, loading the truck.
And I love you for it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm thankful that you are invested that time with the kids.
Why aren't you ever thankful for the checklist I made for the kids? I just want you to be thankful
That was
for
like
it.
5 days ago. Anyway, thank you for that. Okay, reveal it, Dara.
This review is 5 stars. It says, great help for us with a little heart. My husband found your podcast and we have been listening now for a few weeks. We love your shows, all the different subjects, and find that we can identify with so much of what you guys share. And we are growing much closer and learning more about each other. Love your podcast and keep up the great work and inspiration. Sincerely, Kelly and Todd. Thank you, Kelly and Todd.
Thanks.
That is an awesome, whatever
Kelly
the word
and
is,
Toad.
review. And I love calling people who are Toad. It's so funny to me. If you haven't rated and reviewed the podcast, please do that. It's really helpful, and we will read your review on the show. What are you reading? You're spacing out. You're continually spacing out.
Okay, go.
What were you reading?
I'm reading comments.
Oh. So today's question that we got is, it says, I'm wondering if it's totally normal for a husband to notice women in an attractive way and have to force himself to not go there. After this whole conversation about really getting our marriage together, he tells me that it's hard working at his job because he sees so many women and some of them are attractive. I know it's normal for men to think that women are attractive, but he's married. Should I brush it off and not take offense? Would you be worried? Is it just a normal thing men continue to struggle with even after marriage? I'm torn between he should only have eyes for me and it's totally normal. What are your opinions? Thank you for the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. What is your perspective on that?
I will tell you my perspective when we were first married.
I don't want to know that.
My perspective is I'll cut you.
Yeah.
Look at someone, I cut you and I cut her. Everyone's going down.
Everybody's getting cut.
I'm cutting everybody.
Yeah, it was rough. So I'm interested in, so that was the early days of the marriage. And so why did you think that way?
I think because of things like Disney movies and church, they make you think, as a woman, they make you believe that somehow, because there's so much like, oh, your husband will cherish you and he just adores you. And so you think, yeah, bring that on, the cherishing, the adoration.
Right.
I'm right here, just look at me all day. And you really think that's what's going to happen. Because the church is telling you that, the counselors are telling you that, Disney movies are telling you that. There's no like Disney movie where the dude is like, oh, Cinderella, you're super beautiful, and then he's checking out her sister.
Right.
You know, that doesn't happen in those movies. And in the church, it's such a false, it's like a display, like a show, a pretense of what marriage is going to be like and how a husband's going to honor his wife.
It's almost like, there's alcohol up there, but you can't drink it, don't drink it. It's like forbidden kind of thing, and then that makes it, the worst thing ever if it does happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know how alcohol fit into that, but sure.
Well, I'm just thinking of like churches that don't drink and, using grape juice instead of wine because it's whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think all it does is that part of it sets up the man for failure because it's like they're not ever going to acknowledge that, oh, you will see people that are attractive and you don't need to like go pursue them.
Mhm.
You'll just see them,
Mhm.
right? And so that's the thing. When I look back, the way that I felt about it and why I wanted to cut everybody is I was like, this is wrong. This isn't what was supposed to happen. I'm a Christian. Seth's a Christian. He grew up in church. This isn't right. And I was so hurt when you would even see, or I would see someone that I knew you would think was attractive, and I would be like, oh, they're within 300 feet of my husband. Everyone's gonna go down here. They're dying.
That would create so much anxiety too.
I know it would,
And
yeah.
that anxiety would present, and I didn't even do anything.
Oh, yeah.
You could see me being anxious, and you're like, oh, yeah, he's anxious because he did.
Yeah, and it was like when Seth was doing the right thing, when Seth was averting his eyes or whatever, not trying to lust after someone, which is even weird to think of saying it that way. But when you were doing the right thing, ooh, I was all over that, and I was mad. I was like, oh, you had to avert your eyes from her. Great. Now I know who your type is. Like, I was super mean about it.
You would.
Like, I hated it.
Say all that.
Yeah, I was freaking out about it. But now, and the funny thing is that it was going to the Northwest Institute on Intimacy retreat in Denver, the Passion for Life couples retreat, that really helped me understand all that stuff differently. It helped me understand just sexuality in general.
So that was fairly recent. So are you saying that you had...
I think I figured out some things along the way, but I'm saying that was sort of the biggest eye-opening moment for me.
Right.
Was fairly recent. It was a couple years ago, but realizing like, oh, sexuality is its own thing. It's like we are all sexual beings, which I remember hearing that in the past and being like, gross. No, we're not. Perv. Like, I remember being really irritated by that concept of we're all sexual beings.
How in the world did your sexual narrative get created? Because, I mean, Northwest people are fairly liberal here, you know. You used to go to Capitol Hill all the time, which is a, you know...
crazy town.
Well, it's not crazy. It's just, it's open, it's whatever, you know. So how did you... I just don't understand how that narrative... How you ended up with that narrative. Like, oh yeah, gross.
Because it went from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
I went from Capitol Hill to being a Christian.
Right.
There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Not that you can't be a Christian in Capitol Hill, obviously, but with the thing that helped going to the retreat, the thing that helped me from going to the retreat was understanding that, like, even from my own perspective. So I take this to the person who wrote that. It's like, I can see Thor. I can see Thor Ragnarok and see Chris Hemsworth and be like, there's a fine man right there.
Right.
But that doesn't make me hate Seth.
Right.
It doesn't make me not want to be in love with Seth. It doesn't make me not want to kiss Seth. And it was kind of that idea that helped me the most to realize, like, oh, everyone is sexual. I'm going to see someone that I think is attractive and think they're attractive.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Seth. Does not impact how I love you, think about, unless I let it. Unless I think about it all the time.
Right.
And that's the fear, I think, for a lot of Christian men especially, but also the other side of that for women, where men are taught, like, don't you dare lust. You're cheating with your heart. You know, and it's like, no, you just see someone that's attractive. Look away. That's all.
Well,
like, you don't need to...
You don't even have to look away. It's not like, oh, crap.
But, well, I mean, just be normal. How about that?
Don't...
Be respectfully normal.
How about this? Don't be a weirdo and, like, abuse that. It's like, oh, there's beer. You see a beer. I gotta have 6 of them.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah.
Only can have 6 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we have self-control. We have it. All of us have self-control.
Right.
And I think that's the thing.
So how can you exercise that? And then how can... I think that this problem, this issue, can be exacerbated by how the woman is reacting to... And just say it was flipped, right? If I was like, jealous, Chris, what the H? You know? If...
What the Hemsworth?
Yeah, what the Hemsworth. Then that I would be making it worse. And my understanding of sexuality and other attractive people would be very limited when you were just being like, there are other attractive people in the world. I'm not like fangirling Chris Hemsworth with posters or, you know, other goofiness.
Yeah.
No, that's a normal thing. But my reaction to it could make it 100 times worse.
Yes.
And back in the days, your reaction to it was making it 1,000,000,000 times worse. It was terrible, right? I'm not bashing you. I'm not.
No.
But I think that this is such a thing, especially with young married, you know, Christian or non-Christian couples, when people don't have certain levels of self-confidence or self-esteem or whatever, then all that other stuff is just going to blow up, and you're going to blame it all on your partner, and they can't handle it. They're not going to be able to carry that. They can't make it better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think there's just a lot to be said for that, like your reaction to it, like you said. So we all have self-control. That's something that we have innately. We have to practice self-control the same way that you would practice tying your shoes or riding a bike, excuse me, or learning a new skill. You have to practice self-control. Self-control is not, oh my gosh, someone hot is over there. I totally want to sleep with them, but I can't think about that. Like I think that's what women think men are doing. And probably you're like, oh, there's someone attractive. Well, I'm married and probably shouldn't just stare at them. That's probably what you're thinking.
Have you seen that meme? It's like a guy and a girl, like a dude's just kind of sitting there, and the girl is like, they're on the bed, I think, and she's like looking into, you know, the distance, and she's like, I wonder what he's thinking. He probably doesn't even love me, and he's thinking about Julie. Yeah. And then his bubble is like, what did I eat for dinner? You know, just something goofy or whatever. And I think oftentimes that is the case, but we're running full speed with all these negative self-talk or just making assumptions, and we're just running down the road as fast as we can. And we're the only one going there, but then we blame our partner. Yeah,
the other thing that helped me too, honestly, this is almost kind of a funny way to look at it, but like we have some really beautiful friends, right? Like Katie, for example, is gorgeous.
Eli, have you seen Eli before?
Her husband, they're just a model. They're both models. But that was actually one of the things that actually really, really helped me, was the more friends that I had that were really beautiful, I was like, they're just people. They're not like venomous demons out to get my husband. And that's really what I was like, every beautiful person is trying to seduce my husband, which is
by saying hello?
No, not even by saying anything, by existing.
By living.
By living. How dare they live? And so I had to kind of change the way that I thought about things. And I was super insecure when we were first Christian. Well, when we were first married, and when I first became a Christian, which was really close together, because I thought being a Christian meant everything was going to be different. You wouldn't lust after other people or even think about them. Lust aside. But I don't know. I don't know if that helped. I don't know if it made any sense. But it's something that I think is super important to really evaluate, because just because you notice someone attractive, i.e. Chris Hemsworth, does not mean you're like thinking about him all the time, that when you kiss your husband, you're like, oh, Chris Hemsworth, right? That doesn't mean that's what's going on. And
my
also,
arms need to get bigger first.
It also doesn't mean that that's what your husband thinks about any attractive person he sees. So flip the script in your mind, and help your partner flip the script in his mind. It doesn't mean, oh, attractive people, I don't know what I'm going to do. Right. It just be like, oh, attractive people exist. I'm fine. Do that.
I think it's a larger issue from a therapeutic standpoint. I would go, okay, this is a behavior. Let's go down a little bit farther. Let's go down even farther than that, and then talk about this stuff. And then this stuff up here will be different.
You're saying there's a deeper issue.
To some degree. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is
around self-confidence, or what's your self-worth, or who are you as a woman, who are you as a man, kind of thing.
I would think too that there's also a good deal of sexual suppression that has a part to play. Like, we are sexually made. There's no two ways about it. Like, flowers are too. They propagate and make more flowers. It's not a bad thing. But when you like suppress or repress that's just sexuality in general, it tends to manifest in ways where you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do with these feelings? You just acknowledge them, and you're fine. You don't like die and explode. You don't have to. Let's read some comments though. Let's see. That's why. What the?
Ferris cycle. I don't know, Kenan. What are you saying? That's why maybe Pharisees. That's why Pharisees' laws are seen as helpful instead of learning how to deal with it in the midst of the mess.
Kenan, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, don't meditate on them. That's a good one, Brad. Kenan's yours was not good. I'm just kidding.
It's been a struggle for me.
Not on viewing other people, but feeling like I don't measure up to other attractive people. It's silly.
Oh, okay. So we've talked about the Ed Milet podcast before, and that's one of my favorite shows. Ed Milet. He talks about, if you can't see it in your mind, then at some level you don't think that you deserve it. And if you feel that you don't deserve something, you will always sabotage yourself from getting there. And this goes with diet, exercise, how much money you want to make, what kind of partner you want to attract. And here's another thing that I read yesterday somewhere. It's, if I'm a half person then I always will attract other half people to try to make a whole.
Bust.
Boom. And I'm not saying that about you, but I am saying my insecurities, I'm going to attract universally someone else with equal or maybe opposite insecurities in order to try to feel whole. So you absolutely have to be complete and whole.
Well, and what's weird too is that I didn't want to feel whole when I was telling you that you were looking at other women. I wanted to fight. That's what I wanted. I didn't know what whole felt like. I didn't know what secure felt like. All I knew was you complain and you fight and you get mad. That's what you do. And so I was just like, I was just like, very empty, and I was just perpetuating it. Let's see.
Yeah, insecurity in who you are physically has a lot to do with it, which motivates me to change. That's right.
Yes.
You will change when you are too uncomfortable with how things are.
I'm so white that the words are blending in with my skin tone. Personal security, relational security, and communication are so vital. Honoring your commitment to each other and not acting on it. Our marriage is recovering from adultery on my husband's side.
That's big.
So that has been a huge thing that we have to really dig into. Dealing with the root of the issue, because it's almost always tied into something else. Yes.
That's right. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's
earlier.
like that.
Yeah, and that takes work.
Yes, it does. It takes a lot of work.
I struggle with this personally. I have my own insecurities for past experiences, and it's like no matter how much my husband reassures me, I can never accept it. It's something I'm working on daily. Yes, so that goes, again, what I was saying. It's like I used to give Melanie all the reassurance, and like my eyes are just like right here, they're not over here, they're not over here, but nothing would work for her. So I could not fix that problem, but it drove me insane for years and years and years trying to fix it. I wasn't happy, and you weren't happy, right? And so I've looked to you for certain things for me that you can't fix. You know, I would like be critical or complaining or whatever. It's like, why am I looking over here towards you when it's right here the whole time, right? So you have it inside of you. Who said that comment? Well, I'm not going to read it. Say your name. You have it inside of you. You just have to find it. And it makes me think of that, a Bible verse, I think in Proverbs. It talks about wisdom and like completeness or something. It says, search for it like gold or something like that, and you will find it. And then here's another thing. What we're looking for, we will find. Yeah. Melanie was looking for me like to be a jerk, to be a douche about stuff.
I was looking for him to like be lusting after women. I was searching for that like it was gold.
Right. And you found it in a false
Even
sense.
if I made it up, I found fool's gold.
Oh, that's so good.
Pyrite,
fool's gold. That's pretty good. Okay, so my husband is beautiful and attractive. And attractive, everyone, and everyone knows it, but I'm not insecure about myself, but sometimes he looks down at my appearance. Well, yeah, that's not okay for him to do that, for sure. Is that the same comment? So, have a conversation about that. I need more context. I'm sorry, I can't really answer that one. So
another one says, I'm so insecure, and when I hear my husband say this, it really makes me feel like I'm not good enough or sexy enough. He tells me all the time that he loves me and my body. I just hate my own body, so it makes it even worse when my husband tells me he struggles with this. Oh, he struggles with looking at other women, I would assume.
Right.
So, there's, again, I'm going to go back to, like, the Chris Hemsworth conversation in that. It's like, Seth isn't Chris Hemsworth, but that doesn't mean that I hate Seth, right? Like, I love Seth, and I don't know, I think there's so much to say about, I can't even think of how to dismantle that comment, because if you're saying you hate your own body, you cannot give away what you do not have.
Right.
You have to start loving your body, then you can give that love away to your partner, that like the love for your body to your partner. I know that sounds kind of weird.
No.
That will help fulfill your partner. And then you will feel secure knowing I love my body. It's a gift I gave Seth. And then I'm not going to worry about the other thing. Like, I like this red wine. Oh, there's so many other red wines, though. I better block the red wine from the other red wine. Well, it's just part of being a human.
It is part of being human, but the thing that stuck out to me about that comment is I just hate my own body, so it makes it even worse. So I'm sorry that you feel that way. I know that body image stuff is real. I've had body image stuff forever, and I don't know where it came from. I think it probably came from a comparison of all the crap that we see on TV and in the movies, and especially now. That's okay. That you can't take care of these other. So these other feelings are a product of not being okay with your own body. You see what I'm saying? This didn't come first, and then you're like, oh yeah, my body. I don't think, at least. So I'm thinking of, again, you know, we talked about it before, but I Hope I Screw This Up by Kyle Cease.
Yes.
It talks a lot about like, okay, we're here, you know, and then it gets kind of meta and spiritual and stuff, which is awesome. And what if we changed our concept to like, I'm not a body with a spirit, I'm a spirit living in a body right now, and this is just a thing, you know?
I will say, this is something that helped me a lot, and I can't remember, it's in the workbook. It's in the workbook that we made for season 1. If you hate your body, which is something I've often felt. I have, you know, I'm like the color of a piece of paper, and I have lots of stretch marks, and I have a giant scar on my stomach, and I've always just been like, well, I'm not beautiful. Close the book on that. And what helped me to change my own perception of my body was finding the place that I felt the most powerful and beautiful and sexual and physical, I guess, and starting there. So for me, that's childbirth. I had 3 children. I can't believe I did that. I was so terrified of childbirth before I gave birth. I mean, it's not fun when I was doing it, but I did it. And then I nursed children, and that to me feels like so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the goddess, those like carved goddess stone things that are just like boobs and hips, you know? And it makes me feel good. It does. I don't care if you think it's funny. It makes me feel really good.
Yeah, it's funny how you said it.
Yeah. But so that's what I had to do to start my journey to change what I thought about myself, which I knew would change how Seth related to me and how I related to Seth. So I know that might sound weird, but I had to find the place where I felt the most physically strong. For me, being like, if I wanted to share my body with you sexually, I needed to feel strong physically. So I don't mean like lift weights. I mean, I needed to feel...
And you needed to feel sexy to your own self.
I needed to feel like universal sexiness, if that makes sense. Like
not sure what that means.
There's that poet Rupi, I don't know her name.
Rupi Kapoor.
Yes, and she has like a bunch of poetry about women, and she has like the one where it's gonna sound inappropriate, but it's like the lady with her legs spread out, and it's like literally people walking out of her, which is like, that's what women do. They make all the people.
That's true.
And that kind of poetry and imagery makes me feel like a lion. Like, it makes me feel amazing.
Yeah.
And when I feel amazing, I can give that energy, that positive energy that, like, even if I see another lioness out there, I'm not going to need to attack it. No big deal.
What is it? Something I've seen. It's like queens lift other queens up or something.
They help you put your crown on or something, like, yeah.
You help you adjust. You don't try to knock it off.
So it's stuff like that that makes me feel really good about myself, realizing, for one, not every woman is out there to try to get Seth away from me.
Right.
2, there are beautiful women who are amazing, and I can be their friend.
And this is something that John Gottman said a long time ago, and I think we were in person. We saw him say it. And so, okay, there are other women and other men who want to, like, you know, what is that song? Mr. Steal Your Girl. And, Tina, that's funny. We're talking about, like, her wheelhouse, right? But there are other people that, you know, want to attack and do stuff, right? There are not queens, right? But if your man, if your woman wants to go that way, then
ain't nothing you can do to stop them.
Maybe you shouldn't, you know, it's like that's their choice, and that comes from a very differentiated place.
But I'll tell you what is not okay. If you think, so this is what I was doing. I think you're going to cheat on me. You're probably going to cheat on me. Oh, you're looking at her? You're probably going to look at her again. So what does that make Seth feel? If I do that to him,
right?
He feels degraded. He feels belittled. He feels stupid. He feels like he might cheat because I've repeated it to him so many times. I very well may manifest that fear.
Yeah,
by repeating
I know that sounds probably trippy. Like, what the about? Because sorry, like, what? Hey buddy,
Hey,
we're
buddy,
recording.
we're recording.
We're recording.
Oh, he's
recording.
giving us his daily hug. It's on his
okay.
short chart. I love
There you go.
Say hi to all the people.
Hey, Pete.
Okay, go.
All right, see you later. I don't know what I was saying.
Well, we're
but
talking about manifesting that
I'm glad that
fear.
our son came in. Yeah, manifesting that fear, and that, man, this is just now you got my brain completely
sorry,
going everywhere
yeah.
because
But-
there's so many things.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I know,
25
we've
minutes.
talked a really long time, but
Okay.
this is a really good question, and I'm glad that we got to talk about it more because it's something we struggled with so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'll raise my hand super high and say, I wasn't high-fiving. I made it terrible.
Right.
I made it terrible by repeating my fears and putting them into the world and watering my fears and planting them as seeds and taking care of my fears.
Right.
I was not trusting you.
That's right.
I was not trusting that you were like a human who could deal with stuff.
Right.
I was like, oh, here it comes. He's gonna cheat on me. He's
Right.
looking at her. He's emailing someone. I mean, he wasn't doing anything like that, but
No.
but I was like, I hated his female coworkers. I mean, I was like on a rampage
Right.
to just tear my own marriage apart.
It was an
by
unhealthy thing.
Yeah.
But I want to like talk back to like this idea of a different sexuality or an empowered sexuality, and we should talk about it maybe tomorrow because it's such an awesome topic. In fact, let's maybe do that. Empowered sexuality, like when you feel like a lioness, that is going to manifest in good ways, right? And for me, like when I feel strong, like physically male testosterone strong, not in a like
Yeah.
Rambo kind of way or anything like that, but I
Indiana
feel
Jones kind of way.
well, no, probably not that either, but like strong and capable and flexible, and like my body can move and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm not like just like can't stretch, can't do anything, not mobile.
Yeah.
Right. That makes me feel good, and then with the combination of like the feminine and the masculine, it makes for a pretty fun time and awesomeness,
Yeah, I get
completeness.
Yeah, the way that I would wrap all of this up and like to what you're saying exactly is that you are stronger than you think you are. So is your partner.
You are.
Stop telling each other how weak you are. Oh, you're lusting after someone else? Oh. Like, stop doing that. Stop telling yourself, I'll just die if he sees another woman. Oh.
Right.
Like, stop, like, putting a magnifying glass on your weaknesses and then wondering why you're not strong. You're not strong because you're not leaning into your strengths, right?
You are stronger than that. Guys, ladies, you're stronger than that.
And think about what that strength manifested, doubled, put together creates. It's what I think of as like universal sexuality or universal power, or not power in a negative way, but just strength and joy. Like even I don't know if does that make sense?
How about full and realized potential of who you are?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
too?
I mean, so when I think of it like that, if we're somewhere and there's a really beautiful woman, which happens all the time, right? There's beautiful people live where we live. And if we see somebody, and when I would used to have been like, oh, he hates everything, and I would like melt into despair. Now I'm like, oh, that person exists. I don't care.
Right.
Like,
But
I
if
don't
I'm-
need to be mean
but
about
if,
it.
If I'm like googly eyed,
Yeah,
or
which he
whatever,
doesn't do.
or if she is too, then that's a couple things. That's kind of creepy. I mean, why the dude was staring at you yesterday. You were like,
A lot of dudes
Hello?
were staring at me yesterday. It was really weird. I wore shorts. Like, apparently that's all I need to do.
well, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
but I just think there's a strength to lean into there, and the strength is going to lead to what you want. If you're leaning into your fear and watering your fears and spending time like thinking and you can't read. I can't focus when you read. I think that's the key to it, is finding your strength, finding the solutions that you bring, finding what makes you magical. Did you give birth to children? You are magical. Like, can you do a job? Can you drive a car? Can you speak or sing and talk or whatever? Like, you're magical. Find that power, that strength, that magic. Bring that and like use it like a magnified, like, you know how you magnify the sun and you can light something on fire?
Concentrate that.
Concentrate. Thank you. Concentrate that power, that energy, that magic that you have to good, for your partner. And then you won't worry about those other people who are
That's
out
true.
there. You won't have to.
That is true.
They're not going to shine brighter than you. They might sparkle a little, but they're not going to shine brighter than you. And if they do shine bright, who cares?
That's right. Okay, we got to wrap this up. You guys are awesome. Remember to go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage.
Poke me in the eye.
I would love to talk about sexuality tomorrow. We don't know yet, so
Goodness, that people stare when I wear shorts, but it's probably for a different reason.
There's a Yeti.
No, that's when I don't shave my legs and wear shorts. I look like Sasquatch.
Melly the Yeti.
I literally was shaving the other day and I thought, I'm at Sasquatch level.
Oh boy.
Leg hair.
All right, we guys love you. We love you guys. Talk to you later. See you, Tomo.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.